I'm back. Did you miss me? Maybe you didn't. I missed you. I will be completely honest. This entire month being off of YouTube, I felt like somebody cut my arm off or something. So I hadn't planned to do anything until November, but I was like, no, I gotta get something out. I gotta do a quick video because I miss you. So I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. I've been super psycho crazy busy. There's a lot more psycho crazy busyness coming up. But that being said, the cookbook shoot went super duper well. I cannot wait to share the video of kind of recapping that whole experience, things that I learned, things that I did differently than I usually do in my regular shoots, and some crazy stories too. So that's coming soon. But today I wanted to talk about artificial light because you know me, I love me some artificial light, and it's that time of year when I start getting a lot of questions about artificial light, right? Because depending on where you are in the world, the sun is starting to set earlier and earlier and earlier in the day. There's some people who are messaging me saying, that's like the sun is setting at 4 in the afternoon. I'm like, how are you getting work done if you're shooting natural light? So I mean, natural light is beautiful, don't get me wrong. But if you want to go ahead and extend into those evening hours, extend your shooting day, have a bit more consistency, all the yada, 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 all the things with artificial light. What I want to talk about today is the gear that you need. Because when I first started shooting artificial light or wanted to start shooting artificial light, I had no clue what gear to buy. I would just like watch a YouTube video and, you know, buy this and buy that and thinking I need to spend a ton of money and buy these big LED panels and do all these things. And like, I spent a crap ton of money, like thousands of dollars. I'm not kidding you. When in all reality, you only need to spend $200 or $300. That's it. That is it. I've got a comprehensive guide to my recommendations for shooting artificial light and the artificial light gear guide. It is linked down below. Now, what you will see when you go to that page is that I'm recommending you start out with a speed light. And that is for two reasons. First of all, because flash is going to give you the most amount of control, the most amount of flexibility out there when it comes to artificial light. And these are super inexpensive, right? As compared to like an LED panel or some other kind of, you know, studio strobe, other things like that. I'm not saying that those aren't wonderful and there's a place and time, but if you're just getting started and you don't want to spend a ton of money, something like this is totally going to rock your world. So you've seen event photographers, of course, mount these to the hot shoe of the camera, right? You're at an event, they've got it on the camera and it's flashing at the faces. It's great. But for food, we don't want to front light our food, right? We've talked about that in past videos. We don't want to front light the food because we lose all the texture, right? It just makes everything feel really flat. So as food photographers, we want to get ourselves a speed light. And then we want a trigger. That trigger mounts to the camera in the hot shoe so that then when we push the shutter button, that is going to communicate here with our flash, and we can put the flash wherever we want it. We can side light, we can backlight, we can do all sorts of things. Now, which of course this isn't just going to float around in space. You got to get a bracket, and then that bracket attaches to a light stand, and then you get some sort of modifier. So whether that's a softbox or my recommendation, again, for just starting out from an affordability standpoint, is a really nice big umbrella. So again, I've got all of this down on my artificial lighting gear guide linked down below. But now the question is, which speed light is the best? And you'll see on the gear page, I have a couple different recommendations depending on what's your budget, what are your own personal desires, right? Like you do what you want to do. But if it were me and I were giving myself advice when I was first starting out, I would recommend going with the Godox V860. Now, I don't personally own the V860. I own the TT685 by Godox, but they are the same exact user interface. So in terms of the screen and the buttons and all that stuff, the V860, the TT685, they are the exact same. But the reason that I think you should get the V860, it's a little more expensive, not too much though, like maybe like $30 or $40 more. But with the V860, you're going to get a lithium-ion battery that's rechargeable that comes with it. This runs off of AA batteries, which of course you can get rechargeable AA batteries. I use the Eneloop. But you can have that V860 with that rechargeable lithium-ion battery. And not only is that nifty, but two, it's going to have a faster recycle time. And if you're not familiar with recycle time, it's the idea of from when the flash goes off to when the flash can go off again, right? Because that's a really powerful burst of light, and then it's got to like recharge itself before it throws another flash. Well, with the V860, V860, it's gonna do that much more quickly, right? This is gonna take a little moment. I mean, it's still pretty fast, but you can get a lot more shots of quickly. So for example, if you're shooting, you know, like a pour shot, right? We're pouring that maple syrup and you go, you know, pow, pow, pow on the camera, that flash is gonna go off faster with the V860 versus the TT685. That being said, they're both great flashes. They're gonna do a great job. Now, some folks will go, well, but I really want the Canon flash, or I really want the Nikon flash. And those, I have recommendations for those as well. But what I will tell you, because people think, well, if I'm gonna spend more money, the light is going to look better. That's not the case. The light is gonna look completely the same. Whether you get the inexpensive Yongnuo, you get this kind of middle of the road Godox, you get the Canon 600 EX-RT, like the flash itself is gonna look the same. It's really about how you modify that, whether that's with an umbrella or a softbox. But that being said, the Yongnuo is the least expensive on the list. It's a great place to start. It does a great job. You can manipulate it just like you can all the rest. It may not last as long in comparison to like the Canon flash or the Nikon flash. Those are, you know, maybe a bit higher quality, will last you more years. But again, that's why I always come back to the Godox. These are really nicely built. I've had no issues with them, super reliable. This TT685, I mean, I actually own the Canon Speedlight, and I actually take the Godox with me when I'm shooting Speedlights anymore. For example, shooting at events, or if I'm shooting something really easy at a restaurant, I don't want to deal with all the studio strobes and shenanigans. These are going to be a great solution. But now you may be thinking, but Joni, like flash is complicated. I'm going to have to learn it. Like, why not just go with a continuous LED solution? And yes, the continuous LED solutions like the Godox that I recommended for video a number of weeks ago, that's good stuff. But again, with flash, you are gonna get the most amount of control, you are gonna get the most amount of flexibility, the best bang for your buck. You're gonna get a lot of power coming out of these little guys. And so that's why I say start with the flash, unless you are doing a lot of combined video and stills. But if you're a still shooter and you don't know flash, do yourself a favor and learn it. Now, I learned it by reading a ton of books, doing a lot of experimentation, asking a lot of questions, getting out there. And you can certainly do that. But if you want to make it easier and you want kind of a one-stop shop, I do have a comprehensive online course called Artificial Academy that'll take you from zero to like everything. And just take you from knowing nothing about artificial light, nothing about flash, to feeling really comfortable and confident in it, how to manipulate it, how to make it look like natural light, taking you through all those basics, but then also adding in things like shooting with multiple lights, working with action, shooting drinks, shooting portraits, all of that specifically for food photography and the kind of work that we do. So if you are interested in that, I've got the details linked below. Would love to have you in that. It is a lifetime membership with that course, so that as I continue to update that course, release new modules, new lessons, you'll continue to get that. And it also comes with a private Facebook group with direct access to me. And I will say at this point, I have taught many people, definitely over 600 people, maybe 800 people, how to shoot flash. And I am familiar with shooting Nikon. You can see I've got the Nikon. You're like, why has she got a Nikon camera? That's a whole other conversation. I have not left Canon. I've not left Sony. I've got all the cameras at this point, because as an educator, I'm going to be able to help you out. So as far as in the course, if you're a Nikon shooter, a Canon shooter, a Sony shooter, I can make my way through a Fuji, so I can help you out. I also am very familiar with all the various different kinds of popular flashes out there as well. So as you're sort of stumbling through and struggling through, that's what that Facebook group is there, and I am happy to help you out there too. But here's the thing with these little guys. I remember the very first time that I was shooting in a restaurant when I started shooting flash, and I had this up on the light stand, I had the umbrella going, got everything communicating. I'm like, flash, 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 right? Looking super fancy. And they're like, oh, that's when people look at you and go, they're a professional.